Welcome back to Healing Oath. This is Brielle, and we're here with a message for the collective for the 28th of October 2020. And we're going to be using the Celtic Oracle for this message. And we know previously we had a message that spoke about on the 27th, we had a message that spoke about the fact that our hard work was paying off. So things were looking good. Things were looking very good. Abundance was brought to our life by the work we had put in, and we were getting some payoff. That's fantastic. And we are encouraged to continue on so that our abundance could continue. So let's see the message for today from the Celtic Oracle for the collective, the 28th of October 2020. Okay. The Keeper of the Wheel. That is the message for today. And let's see what the further meaning is. Here we see little stars. We can see that wheel, maybe something to do with like the Wheel of Fortune. Let's see. And something about the coloring here reminds me of lapis and amethyst in the color purple that they've chosen here, as well as the blues within. So let's see what this is. Okay. The Keeper of the Wheel reminds us that it says a fiery great triskel, or triple spiraled wheel, spins and swirls of incandescent light between two pillars of intertwined bird shapes. So these are birds here. And the key here is fate. The Keeper of the Wheel holds the tides of fate in his hands, turning them according to the pattern which only he and the shapers know in full. He has the ability to move through space and time on his wheel, and thus offers keys to all of the realms. His appearance, however, can bring about unexpected change and a reversal in any journey, and he often appears to set us free from impossible or stalemated situations. So now this speaks about background. Morgrut is a shadowy figure who appears in more than one old Irish text as a druid with considerable powers. On one occasion, he gives aid to a besieged army of King Fiach of Munster, which is under attack from the much more powerful forces of the High King Cormac. First, he is able to supply water to the warriors. Then, when Cormac's druid advises him to cut down and burn some trees so he can tell from the direction the direction of the wind whether to attack or go home. So he's to cut down the trees so he'd have an idea whether he should attack or go home because he could feel the wind. He builds up his own fire and causes a magical wind to blow a black cloud over the enemy. This falls as sinister rain of blood and is followed by the explosion of Cormac's fire, which was something that he himself did, Morgrut, this druid. He then blows a great deal of smoke north, and the Munster warriors attack, thereby driving Cormac's army before them. He's said to have possessed an oared wheel on which he traveled. His name means servant of wheel, and it is significant that he's sometimes portrayed as blind, in service to the ever-turning wheel of life and death, which he must trust implicitly. His blindness renders him impartial and open to inner sight. It says, from both Celtic and earlier times tradition, the wheel of the sun, or the chariot of the sun drawn by a horse, is a common depiction in sacred art. His wheel, however, is probably of a different nature, representing the wheel of existence. Though there is scarcity of evidence to suggest that he was a god of fate and time, the author of the book believes that the interpretation stands, if only because there's no comparative figure who he can be said to fulfill this function within Celtic tradition. So the journey this encourages us is to travel to a cave that is deep within the mountains. Within there is bright light, and you see, almost hidden at the back of the cave, a great wheel, more than 3 times your height, which is turning slowly and silently. At its side stands a figure whose eyes are covered by a scarf, but who yet seems aware of your presence. You may ask him any question you like to regarding the past or future, but you should always remember that the treads of fate are not set in any single pattern and may change at any moment in this world or the other. So this asks us to do a meditation where we enter into a cave and we note a figure that is blindfolded. We can ask this figure, which we take to represent Mogruid, the Druid, and he will give us an answer. But we also need to remember that things can change at any time in this world or another. So he gives the answer now, but again, we all know we have free will, so it doesn't have to be the answer that he says. We can choose. So that's our message for our collective today. Please visit us again for the message for the 29th of October 2020. Look in our description box below for some goodies, and also have a beautiful day filled with health, love, happiness, peace, and prosperity. Thank you. Goodbye.